Mama Abir, I'm not ready to have this baby. Is there any way you can help me? Mama Abir looked at Nana with kind but serious eyes. My dear, it's too late to get rid of the baby safely. It could be very dangerous for you. Nana's heart sank. She didn't know what to do. But then Mama Abby said something that surprised her. If you don't want the baby, you can sell it after it's born. There are people who would pay a lot of money for a healthy child. Once upon a time in a village far away there lived a girl named Nana. Nana was very beautiful with a kind heart that made everyone love her. She was always helpful and sweet, making people smile wherever she went. Nana's father was a poor farmer. He worked hard every day in the fields trying to grow enough food for his family. Nana's mother was a trader. She sold little things in the market, doing her best to make sure they had what they needed even though they didn't have much. Nana's family was happy. They loved each other very much. Nana had a few close friends. Together they walked to school every day. Nana was very smart. She always listened to her teachers and studied hard. Because of this, she was always the top of her class. Every week the head teacher would smile at Nana and say, "Nana, you are the best in the whole school." Then he would give her a little gift like a shiny pencil or a small book. Nana felt proud and happy because she knew she was making her parents proud too. The villagers all knew and loved Nana. They would say, "Nana is a good girl. She's going to do great things one day," and Nana would smile, dreaming of a bright future. As Nana grew older, she reached her final year in school. During this time, she became very close to a girl named Bola. Bola was not as smart as Nana, and she wasn't as pretty either, but she had a way of doing things that were different, sometimes not very good. The other girls in the village noticed this. They would say to Nana, "Nana, be careful with Bola. She doesn't always make good choices." But Nana didn't listen. She liked Ba and wanted to be her friend. One day Nana went to school with an empty stomach. There was no food at home and her parents couldn't give her anything to eat. She felt very hungry and sad, but when she arrived at school she saw Boa carrying 2 plates of food. Boa smiled and said, "Nana, I brought this for you. I made it just for my special friend." Nana was surprised and very thankful. "Thank you so much, Ba," she said, and they sat down to eat together. From that day their friendship grew even stronger. Nana felt grateful to have a friend like Bola who was there for her when she needed it. Even though Bola wasn't the best influence and she sometimes did things that weren't right, Nana continued to do well in school. She still listened to her teachers and studied hard. Nana believed that as long as she stayed true to herself, everything would be okay. After Nana and Ba finished school, they began spending a lot of time together. They would walk through the village, visit the market, and talk about everything. Nana noticed that Bola always had nice clothes, pretty jewelry, and other things that Nana couldn't afford. This made Nana curious. One day Nana asked Boa, "How do you get all these nice things? Where does the money come from?" Bola smiled and said, "It's from a man named Clay. He gives me money and buys me gifts." Nana didn't understand, but why would he do that? "What do you do for him?" Rola looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then she whispered, "I sleep with Kunal and he gives me money. It's easy and I get whatever I want." Nana was shocked. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "But what if you get pregnant, Bola? Aren't you scared?" Bola shook her head and laughed. "Don't worry, Nana, I know how to take care of that. I won't get pregnant now. It's nothing to be afraid of." Nana felt confused and worried. She had never thought about doing something like that, but Bola made it sound so simple, so easy. Nana didn't know what to think, but she trusted her friend. Bola seemed so confident and Nana didn't want to lose her friendship, so she kept quiet and continued to follow Bee's lead, even though deep inside she felt something wasn't right. One bright morning Nana was on her way to Bee's house when she met a man named Bakery. Bakery was young and handsome and he was well known in the village. He was a palm wine tapper and he owned a big farm where he made the sweetest palm wine anyone had ever tasted. Bakar was not only hardworking but also very kind. As they talked, Bakar looked at Nana and smiled. He liked her gentle nature and her beauty. Before they parted ways, Bakery reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside was a pair of beautiful earrings. He handed them to Nana and said, "These are for you, Nana. I hope they bring a smile to your face." Nana was surprised and happy. "Thank you, Bakery. They so beautiful," she said, her eyes shining with gratitude. From that day on, Nana started meeting Bakery every day. They would talk, laugh, and sometimes walk together too. His farm. Bakar always made Nana feel special and she began to look forward to their time together. As days passed, Nana and Bakery grew closer. One day, in a quiet moment, they ended up sleeping together. Nana felt a mix of emotions. She liked Bakery very much, but she also felt unsure about what they had done. While this was happening, Nana's parents were busy planning her future. They wanted her to learn a skill that would help her in life, so they decided to send her to another village called Baiku. Baiku was known for its skill training and bustling market, and they thought it would be a good place for Nana to grow. But a few weeks after being with Bakar, Nana realized something that made her heart sink. She was pregnant. Nervously, she went to Bakar and told him the news. hoping he would stand by her, but instead Bakara shook his head and said, "No Nana, I'm not responsible for that, it's not my child." His words were cold and he turned away from her. Nana felt crushed and alone. The man she thought cared for her had rejected her in her time of need. Now with a baby on the way, she didn't know what to do after being rejected by Bakery. Nana felt lost and scared. Her parents, not knowing about her troubles, sent her off to Baiku village to learn a trade. They wanted her to have a skill that would help her in life. Iu was a big village famous for its skill training and busy markets. People came from far and wide to learn and trade there. As Nana left her parents' house, she felt a mix of emotions. She was excited about learning something new, but she was also very scared about what was happening with her baby. When she arrived in Baiku, she stayed with a distant aunt who lived near the market. The aunt was kind and welcomed Nana into her home, but Nana couldn't stop thinking about the baby growing inside her. She didn't want to have it. She didn't know how she could take care of a baby all by herself, so she decided to visit a midwife in the village. This midwife was known as Mama Abir, and she was the one people went to when they needed help with their pregnancies. Nana went to Mama AB and explained her situation. "Mama AB, I'm not ready to have this baby. Is there any way you can help me?" Mama Abir looked at Nana with kind but serious eyes. "My dear, it's too late to get rid of the baby safely. It could be very dangerous for you." Nana's heart sank. She didn't know what to do, but then Mama AB said something that surprised her. "If you don't want the baby, you can sell it after it's born. There are people who would pay a lot of money for a healthy child." Nana was shocked at first. Sell the baby, but as she thought about it, a new feeling came over her. She could make money from this. Maybe this was a way to solve her problems. She wouldn't have to take care of the baby and she would have money to live on. Nana looked at Mama Ab and nodded. "Okay, I'll do it," she said, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. Now, instead of worrying about the baby, she started to focus on the idea of making money. Nana's thoughts were no longer on learning a trade but on having her baby so she could sell it. She didn't feel the usual excitement or worry that other mothers might feel. Instead, she was focused on the idea of making money. As the months passed, Nana's belly grew and soon it was time for the baby to arrive drew closer. Mama Abir, the midwife, was already prepared, but not just for the delivery. She had secretly arranged a buyer who was willing to pay a high price for a child. When the day finally came, Nana gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who cried loudly, full of life and innocence, and for a brief moment everything felt still. Mama Abir gently placed the newborn into Nana's arms, expecting to see the natural bond between mother and child, but something felt wrong. Nana stared at the baby and felt nothing. No love, no connection, no warmth, only the thought of the 500 gold coins and shining jewelry waiting for her. After briefly feeding the baby, Nana handed her over without hesitation, and Mama Abir took the child away to the waiting buyer. The buyer smiled with satisfaction and handed over the promised reward. As Nana held the gold and jewelry in her hands, a strange excitement filled her, completely overshadowing the reality of what she had just done. She didn't think about the baby she had given away. Instead, her mind was consumed by the wealth she now possessed. At that moment, she made a decision that would change everything. This was easier than struggling to learn a trade, and far more profitable. She convinced herself that this was the smartest path forward, a shortcut to riches that no one had shown her before. Without wasting time, Nana made up her mind to continue down this dangerous path. Instead of building a future through hard work, she chose to use her own body as a means of making money, believing she had discovered a secret that others didn't understand. It didn't take long before she became pregnant again, this time by another man named Tund. Just like before, when she told him about the pregnancy, he immediately denied responsibility, claiming the child was not his. But unlike the first time, Nana didn't feel pain or rejection. Instead, she felt excitement. Her mind was already calculating how much money she would make from this baby. Without hesitation, she rushed to Mama Abir's hut, almost unable to contain her joy as she announced the news. Mama Abir looked at her with concern and warned her that this path could lead to regret, that selling her own children was not something to take lightly. But Nana refused to listen, brushing off the warning with confidence, convinced that she had everything under control. She believed this was her chosen path, the fastest way to wealth, and nothing could change her mind. Mama Abir, seeing her determination, could only sigh and continue to assist her through the pregnancy, even though deep down she feared what Nana was becoming. After 9 months, Nana gave birth to a healthy baby boy, strong and full of life, his cries echoing in the room as he entered the world. But once again, Nana showed no emotion, no curiosity, not even the desire to hold him. She knew the buyers were already waiting outside, and without a second thought, she handed the baby over. Mama Abier took the child away, and shortly after, returned with an even greater reward, 2,000 gold coins along with more luxurious jewelry than Nana had ever seen. This time, the amount was overwhelming, and Nana felt a sense of power growing inside her. The more she earned, the less she cared about the lives she was giving away. To her, it was no longer something shocking, it had become a business. She began to see herself not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone who had found a clever way to rise above poverty. As her wealth increased, so did her confidence, and she became completely convinced that nothing could go wrong. Nana's plan worked faster and better than she had imagined. With each pregnancy, she earned more gold, more jewels, and more influence. Soon, she became one of the richest women in Baiko village, living a life filled with luxury and comfort. She wore the finest clothes, adorned herself with expensive jewelry, and had access to anything she desired. However, while her wealth continued to grow, Mama Abier's concern deepened. One day, unable to stay silent any longer, she sat Nana down and urged her to stop, reminding her that these children were her own flesh and blood, her future, and that one day she might regret everything. But Nana laughed it off, dismissing the warning completely. She believed she still had many more children to give, many more opportunities to make money, and she saw no reason to stop. Blinded by wealth and comfort, she ignored every warning and continued her actions without a second thought. She even began sending money and expensive gifts back to her parents, who were amazed and proud of her success, unaware of the dark truth behind it. By the time Nana decided to return to her village, she had already sold 10 of her own children, each one increasing her wealth and strengthening her belief that she was unstoppable. Carrying bags filled with gold and jewels, she returned home with confidence, ready to show the world how far she had come. She never once thought about the children she had sold or the consequences of her actions. All that mattered to her was the life she had built. When she arrived, her appearance was so transformed that even her parents struggled to recognize her at first. She looked radiant, dressed in expensive clothing, her skin glowing, and her jewelry shining brightly under the sun. The villagers gathered around her in amazement, whispering in disbelief. It was Bola, her old friend, who finally recognized her and ran to embrace her. The entire village celebrated her return, proud of what they believed was her success. Using her wealth, Nana built a grand house for herself and even transformed her parents' home into something far more comfortable and impressive. She lived surrounded by luxury, enjoying every moment of it, completely untouched by guilt. Men in the village were drawn to her beauty and success, many of them proposing marriage, hoping to share in her wealth and lifestyle. But Nana rejected them all, convinced she didn't need anyone. In her mind, she already had everything: money, beauty, and admiration. However, as time passed, her parents began to worry. They believed that true happiness came not just from wealth, but from having a family. Eventually, Nana began to question herself, wondering if something was missing. This led her to meet a man named Akin, who was wealthy, kind, and respected. Their relationship grew quickly, and soon they were married in a grand ceremony attended by the entire village. For a moment, Nana believed she had finally completed her life. But as the years passed, a new problem emerged: she couldn't have children. The same woman who had once given away her babies now found herself unable to have even one. Pressure began to build, especially from Akin's mother, who demanded grandchildren. Eventually, the situation became unbearable, and Nana was accused of being barren and forced to leave her husband's home. The marriage that she thought would bring her happiness ended in heartbreak. Now alone again, Nana tried to start over, hoping to find another chance at love, but the truth followed her. No man wanted to stay with her because she couldn't have children. The same society that once admired her now whispered behind her back. Then, unexpectedly, Bakery, the first man who had denied her, returned, demanding to know what happened to his child. Nana, panicked, lied and claimed she had lost the baby. But her lies couldn't last forever. One by one, other men came asking the same question, and she gave them all the same answer. However, someone had overheard the truth and revealed everything, that Nana had been selling her own children for money. The news spread quickly, turning admiration into anger. The men, now aware of the truth, gathered with other villagers and returned to Nana's house, furious and demanding answers. "Give us back our children, Nana," they shouted, their voices filled with rage. They demanded, their voices loud, aggressive, and filled with rage, threatening Nana that if she refused, they would burn down her house without hesitation. Nana stood completely frozen, unable to move, as fear wrapped tightly around her heart. Everything she had worked for, the wealth, the luxury, the image she had built, felt like it was collapsing right in front of her eyes. The same villagers who once admired and praised her now looked at her with nothing but anger and disgust. In that terrifying moment, Nana finally understood that her past actions had caught up with her, and the consequences were far worse than she had ever imagined. With no other option left, she realized she had to find the children she had sold, no matter how difficult it would be. Driven by fear and regret, she rushed back to Baiku village, desperate to undo the damage she had caused. When she arrived, she went straight to Mama Abier's hut, hoping for help, but Mama Abier, seeing the pain and fear in Nana's eyes, could only sigh deeply and remind her that she had once warned her not to take this path. Nana, now broken and desperate, begged for help, explaining that the villagers would destroy everything if she didn't bring the children back. After a moment of silence, Mama Abier handed her a piece of paper containing the addresses of the people who had taken the babies, warning her that they might not be willing to return them and making it clear that once Nana left, she should never come back again. With her heart pounding and hope slowly fading, Nana traveled from place to place, knocking on doors, begging strangers to return the children she had once given away so easily. But reality was far more painful than she expected. Some people denied ever knowing her, while others refused outright, saying the children were now part of their families and would never be returned. Each rejection felt like a knife cutting deeper into her soul, and for the first time, Nana truly felt the weight of what she had done. After exhausting every possible option and finding no success, she returned to her village defeated and ashamed. The villagers were still waiting, their anger burning just as strongly as before. To them, Nana was no longer a symbol of success, but a living example of greed and betrayal. Her parents, devastated by the truth, struggled to accept what their daughter had become. They blamed themselves for not guiding her properly and for failing to teach her the dangers of chasing money without limits. The pain became too much for her mother to bear, and her death left Nana completely shattered, drowning in guilt and loneliness. In a final attempt to seek forgiveness, Nana gave away all her wealth, including her grand house, but the villagers refused to accept anything from her, seeing it as tainted by her actions. Determined to make things right in any way she could, she sold everything she had left and gave the money to the poor, hoping it would somehow ease her burden. With nothing but a small bag and a heavy heart, Nana left the village behind, walking away from the life she once believed was perfect. She settled at the entrance of the village, far from the comfort and luxury she once enjoyed, living a quiet and lonely life filled with reflection and regret. The memories of the children she had sold haunted her every single day, and although she found a small sense of peace within herself, the emptiness never truly left her. She had realized her mistake, but it was far too late to change anything. Over time, Nana's story became a warning for others, especially the children of the village. Parents would tell them about her, reminding them how she traded something priceless for temporary wealth and ended up losing everything. Nana spent the rest of her life in solitude, her heart heavy with regret, hoping that her story would prevent others from making the same mistakes. In the end, she understood a truth she had once ignored, that real wealth is not measured in gold or jewelry, but in love, family, and the choices we make when no one is watching. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful and thought-provoking stories like this one.